Mirna, thank you for being with us and for sharing now Vodafone's approach to workplace outcomes. Your main goals are reducing real estate costs, increasing flexibility, and increasing employee productivity. However, the main indicators that you adopted for measuring these goals are square meters per person, euros per person, and the employees experience index, as you call it. The first two indicators are clearly related to reducing costs. But the third measure does not cover the other two goals completely, that of flexibility and that of productivity. Can you explain this choice? Do you consider measuring cost reduction as more important than measuring the other two goals, or?
I would say that cost reduction is more of a consequence of the employee's experience index. And within the employee experience index, definitely we cover flexibility and productivity as well. Now, within the experience that we are doing in this COVID era, we realized that it is even more important to cover flexibility to respond to people's needs, which means that post social distancing, we will be looking into flexibility even more and make sure that people have a choice whether they want to work from home or elsewhere or in the office. So to summarize, cost reduction, again, it's only a consequence of how we intend to meet people's needs. Of course, there's always, I don't mean to be naive, because there is indeed also a finance drive to it, or better, a financial opportunity as well. But again, I think productivity and employee experience is at the core when we talk about how people work and where they work at their best.
Yeah, of course. Yes, you mentioned also in the previous module that indeed you collaborate a lot with the finance department. So that comes consequently. In a more detailed list of KPIs, you do mention productivity as an important set of indicators to assess performance. In the literature, though, measuring productivity is still considered a problem to be solved, a complicated matter to address. How do you measure this? And also, why do you assume that a satisfied employee is also a productive employee? Because studies have shown that this is not always the case.
Well, that's a tough question because I do agree with you. Productivity is not always easy to measure. Actually, there isn't yet anything that can scientifically prove how you measure productivity. There are many variables and it is very hard, and the workplace is not the only one. Therefore, is very difficult to understand how much the workplace weight on employees' productivity. What we can do by now, as I said in the previous modules, it is measure employees' experience and the workplace performance index, and we can do our best to make this as successful as possible, which means that there is a contribution of the workplace to the productivity. But as you said, still, I don't think it is an exact science. When it comes to productivity and understand why this is important for satisfied employees, I would question that, yes, some cases have some studies have shown that actually it is not always the case, but in most of the time it is the case. So I would say that if I am satisfied, my energy is higher and I want to put more of myself in what I do. This is my personal experience, and I think that this is the case in most of the situation. So again, as there aren't any scientific proof, there isn't, sorry, any scientific proof of the measure of productivity. Likewise, there isn't any scientific proof that satisfaction increases productivity, but there are tons of researches that goes towards this direction. So I would say that it is important to look into it.
Yeah, definitely. I think that this is a learning by doing process, and there are also other similar and complementary aspects that can be taken into consideration, such as measures of engagement and of motivation that all make up altogether the productivity of employees in the end and the effectiveness of their daily work.
And to put it very simplistically, if you look at your own daily life experience, if you're satisfied with an exhibition center, if you had a good experience there, or a restaurant or a cinema, you are more likely to go there again.
Of course, that's true. Are there any KPIs, perhaps among those devoted to environmental quality, business effectiveness, space usage, user attitude, or productivity that specifically assess the achievement of your goal for increased flexibility? Or is there another way in which you try to check how you are performing on this goal?
I would say that we didn't have any specific or additional KPIs factors other than what we were asking in the pre and post occupancy surveys, which was very much related, as I said, to how people worked and how they were satisfied about their working environment. So we didn't have in the past. Now the surveys have more depth, and we do look also into aspects of working from home and how people feel about virtual connection against in-person connection. So we have a set of questions that we wouldn't have asked previously, but now we do in light of what we are trying to achieve, and which is to set up a new way of working post social distancing.
Yeah, great. Of course, this will be important also to address. I mean, build up new workplace strategies for the future. Thank you.